Hi friends. So I made an impulse decision a couple weeks ago to last minute buy a resale ticket to Ariana Grande's Sweetener World Tour. I'd already gone back in March with one of my best friends, but in June, she was playing an arena that isn't that far from where I live, and I was like, I can't just walk by it and not go inside of the place. So I went to the concert alone, and as I walked through the mags at security, I, a woman in her late 20s, brought the average age of the arena up. So that made me feel a little self-conscious, but also I was alone, so like nobody was gonna see me dancing around in my glitter eyeshadow, and also, what of it if they did? Part of why I went is that I spent much of my teen years being too cool for things, especially things that other people like a lot. So now I'm making up for lost time by being a deep and sincere fan of two things, and that is one of the world's most famous pop stars and a YouTube channel about cooking that has millions of followers. I am very soft, yet still very tough. But as I took my seat in low Earth orbit, something very curious happened. There was this pre-show playlist that pumped through the arena as everyone in various states of high ponytail filed into their seats. And most of it I'd never heard. But I'm scrolling through Instagram to pass the time, and the next song that comes up on the speakers is the 2005 pop punk classic, I Write Sins Not Tragedies by Panic at the Disco, and all of the audience around me starts singing along to every word. I glance around at all of these fans that can't be more than like 14, 15 years old, which is how old I was when I saw Panic at the Disco live at my very first concert. Or rather, my first show, which is what you call a concert if you're not ancient and boring. I begged my parents to go see Panic play with the Academy Is. Do you remember them? Do we remember how we all had a crush on William Beckett and his narrow hips and long hair? Or was that just latent bisexual vibes? Anyway, they were playing at this venue called The Rave in Milwaukee, which is an hour and a half from my hometown, and the tickets were only $15. When I first asked if I could go, my parents said no, but then I wrote them a long letter about why this show was so important to me, and then they changed their minds and said yes. And that is why I'm still a writer today. So the day came, I printed out the tickets, and then my friends Alicia, Paige, and Paige's dad, and of course, my dad and I all drove down to Milwaukee for the show. We stopped at a record store in the suburbs for a signing where I had the original lineup of Panic at the Disco sign my blue Chuck Taylors. The shoelaces were green with black stars, and they were laced top to bottom instead of bottom to top because I was very unique. I'd also planned the rest of my outfit weeks in advance to look as cool as possible. I wore a Jack's Mannequin t-shirt over a black waffle weave thermal because you never wear the shirt of the band that you're going to see that band. Remember, we like things, but not too sincerely. As we got to the venue and sidestepped our way into the pit, kids inexplicably moshed to the opening act, Hello Goodbye. Yes, that Hello Goodbye. And we joined them because moshing was a cool thing to do until Alicia got knocked over and didn't feel well, so we had to elbow our way out to protect our friend. You could still smoke inside then, so our clothes got saturated with the smell of cigarettes and sweat that we'd later treasure on our clothes as the smell of rock and roll. We sang along and swelled up with kinetic energy and undiluted emotion so much that we might burst, while our dad sat up in the balcony, where old people sit at shows. Paige's dad read the newspaper, but my dad reasonably enjoyed some of the songs, I think. He still has some of the Academy Is music on his iPod Shuffle that he uses to run. And then I chime in with the haven't you people ever heard of, closing the goddamn door, no. Then I just completely lost my cool. I was all limbs, all shouting, all heart. Arms in the air, pressed into the barricades. I sang so loud that no voice came out, and I stopped watching if anyone around me thought I looked aloof and impressive, and had the most fun in the entire 15 fucking years of my life. And in that moment, the other week, I felt all of that hope and sincerity reflected back at me in the faces of some very well-dressed teens who were half my age, singing the same songs that gave me that feeling, because they still go hard. Now, these days when I go to shows, I'm the old person sitting in the balcony, but when I leave, that buzzing in my ears that lasts until I fall asleep still feels like a remnant of how a too loud bass line fills me up with something. leaves my head thrumming with life. In the comments, tell me who was the first band or artist you saw live, and tell me what that night felt like to you. If you like this video, there are a couple of ways you can show it. One is to hit the notification bell so you don't miss my future videos, and the other is to support me on Patreon, where you can get a whole bunch of exclusive perks and also help me make more of these videos. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye.